What's up guys, so Fortnite just released their 4th update for the Chapter 6 mini-season and it is called Star Destroyer Bombardment. The most obvious change is now during the game, a portal will spawn at the start of the second storm. This means you will have a time span of 5 minutes and 30 seconds to drop from the bus, glide to the POI of your choice, loot up, get a transportation method of your choice, and then head to the Star Destroyer portal. Now 5 minutes and 30 seconds should be plenty of time for you to loot and get to full shield and find a car. And I don't think anyone should have a problem with this. First of all, let's talk about the potential spawn positions of the Star Destroyer portal. I've played a couple of games today and from the impression I get, these spawns are completely random, with no hints of a possible spawn position at the start of the game. However, they will be around the center of the map. Let's assume you need 30 seconds to glide to the POI of your choice. Then you pretty much have 5 minutes to get to full shields, loot for weapons, and get to the center of the map. Therefore, I do not think you need to change your drop spot. Anywhere that has cars or aircrafts should allow you to get to the center of the map in time. Personally though, I will still drop at POIs with slip trucks and cars, so this would be either Foxy Footgates or the training center northeast of Magic Mosses. Then I will loot up real quick, get a car, and drive straight to the center-ish position of the map. If you are playing squads and have communications with the rest of your team, you can actually try to spread out your team among the possible positions of the spawn. Now let's talk about the Star Destroyer. First of all, this thing is indestructible and it will be hovering around for 1 minute and 30 seconds. It has an automatic UAV that marks all of the opponents in red, and this includes all the stormtroopers and the forecast tower guards around the map too. You can zoom in with your right click and shoot with your left click. However, do note that the bullets on this are all projectile and it travels fairly slowly, but when it hits a huge area of effect damage in the range of 100 HP. The Star Destroyer moves in a fairly straight line, but you can control it to sway a little bit to the left or right by moving your cursor in that direction. Since the bullets are projectile and very slow, it is very hard to hit cars or aircrafts. People hovering around on jetpacks or moving around with shockwave grenades are pretty much impossible to hit also. Which brings me to my next point. In order to evade getting eliminated by the Star Destroyer, all you have to do, really, is to just get in a car or an aircraft and fly to a position behind the Star Destroyer or way beside it, to the point that the person in the Star Destroyer cannot see you at all. Personally, as an ex-Call of Duty player who was using kill streaks like the AC-130 or the nuke, this item is not overpowered at all in my opinion, and I think Epic did it just right where you can have fun with it, but it does not automatically determine the winner of a game, which is the definition of a balanced item, and I feel like you would very much prefer something like this over a really overpowered item that ends the game the moment someone gets it. Now, will I go for this item every game moving forward? Personally, the answer to that question will be no, but that is because I prioritize getting the forecast tower over this, because in my opinion, storm forecast is way more valuable to how I play the game, and the forecast tower guards spawn at the same time as the portal. But if you do not need storm forecast, or you plan to buy this service off NPCs later in the game, definitely feel free to try for the Star Destroyer portal every game. Now moving on, we need to talk about shrines and sprites. Fortnite disabled all the shrines, and they vaulted all air and water sprites in this update, which means unfortunately we cannot get shockwaves or big pots anymore by giving in a sprite back to the shrine. Now, although this is unfortunate, they did increase the spawn of shockwave grenades from normal chests. Alongside the vaulting of sprites and the disabling of shrines, Fortnite also disabled the spawn of the Shogun X Island. This also means you will not be able to get the mythic pistol that you get from Shogun X, the Shogun X medallion, and the Chug Jug you get after you eliminate Shogun X. And finally, let's talk about the new weapons. Fortnite unvaulted 3 new weapons this update. The first one would be the Rift to Go. Now this is a pretty simple item, you just have to use it when you want to rift out of a sticky situation. Kinda like the Rift launcher from last season, except these are a one-time use, unlike the unlimited use on the Rift launcher. Number 2 would be the Junk Rift. This is an item that rifts junk onto your opponents, but it doesn't really do that much damage. For some reason it also drops ammo, but this season doesn't need ammo. Overall, I really don't see this being of that much use on Zero Builds, but I guess different people like different things. It's just not gonna work for me. And finally, the Grappler Glove. Now this is my favorite item of this update. It acts like a Spider-Man web slinger and you have 30 shots in it. As long as you don't land on the ground for more than 2 seconds, you can use this item continuously until you run out of the 30 shots. If you do land on the ground for more than 2 seconds though, you will have to deal with the cooldown timer. This item is really nice for movement around the map, especially if you play squads. You can cling onto aircrafts or cars while your squad mates drive, and it's quite a fun item to use with your friends. But that is really it for this item. I do not think it is the best item for fights personally, so I probably will not carry this in endgames. That's all for this update. I hope you guys found something helpful. If you guys like content like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment which is your favorite new item for this new update. I'll see you guys in the next video.
What happens if I go all the way up with that?
Thank you.